And we are live. Thank you for joining us one more time to Incoming Chat Live, the podcast from LiveChat. Today, we wanted to do something a tiny bit different. We have a guest that is not even nearby. He's actually based in Costa Rica right now. And we wanted to touch a subject that is a bit more technical, but not really. I mean, if you're a marketer, you should know what SEO is. If you don't, we'll hopefully going to answer enough of what it is, but also how it truly influences the traffic on your site, the traffic on your blog, and how you really take advantage of it. So without further ado, I want to introduce you to Matthew Woodward. Matthew, great to have you in the show, man.
Thanks for having me on, guys. Very, very happy to be here. We are in the middle of a hurricane right now. It's been a bit touch and go. Couldn't have planned a worse time to do a live show. So hopefully everything goes well.
Hopefully we're gonna go through it without any issues. So just to give everybody a little idea of what Matthew is. I mean, he's been helping thousands of businesses to figure out the traffic on the sites through SEO and helping people figure out how to use it. But yeah. I'm going to let Matt introduce himself and give us a little idea on what he's been working on lately and basically what he does. So take it away, Matt.
Well, first of all, for everyone listening, today, ultimately, I'm going to step you through 3 different things that you can do right now that will influence your search traffic. Simple things, even if you don't know what SEO is or anything like that. The goal of today is for me to give you 3 different strategies that you can walk away and implement and see success with. And some of them you can implement while we're on the call, while we're on the video, right? While you're following along. So my name's Matthew Woodward. I've been doing SEO for, we got to be coming on 15 to 20 years.
Basically, since it was invented.
Since when it was invented, yeah. I was building websites in Notepad way back when, before Google existed, before YouTube existed, before MySpace, Bebo, Facebook, all of that. And I was also quite an entrepreneurial kid, and I was always hustling. I was always trying to sell you something, whatever it was, or if I wasn't trying to sell you something, I was knocking on your door and trying to wash your car or whatever. And if you said no, I'd just come back every day until you said yes.
Which is basically the essence of SEO, isn't
it? Yeah, I guess, right? So I was lucky to come up in a time where kind of when I was about 14, 15, people were still terrified of putting their credit cards into websites. There was all the kind of scaremongering around, like if you bought something online, you'd get hacked and lose your house or something like that, So I'm lucky that my natural kind of web interest, my offline kind of entrepreneur, and the evolution of the internet all kind of converged at the same point. And, I've done the whole corporate thing with great success. Apparently I was, how did they say, you're too passionate about what you do to work in a corporate environment.
Which is the craziest thing to say, isn't it?
It was a very polite way of saying it, I think.
It's like, dude, you're crazy. Get out of
here. Yeah, because, the web's very fast and dynamic and ever changing, right? Especially 15 years ago, right? And in the corporate structures, very rigid and static, and you have to report up to levels and have to have meetings about it and then report down. One major international brand we worked on, it took us a year to get a sign-up form deployed to build an email newsletter. A year.
Jesus.
And that wasn't like a year of just like chatting. That was a year of like going to meetings, 2 hours on the train, each direction, like full teams of people coming together. Like it was absolute, like the lack of agility that there was in the corporate world in comparison to how fast the web was growing, combined with my passion, that it was just a bad mix, right?
I mean, this still happens today a bit, right? I mean, companies still like, all right, we have to prepare our marketing strategy, so let's work for a year, figure out things and they change.
If you're a small to medium business, there's a great opportunity in SEO because the big corporates, even if they have the budget, they're rarely spending the budget right. Or they've got huge technical issues with the site, which means they have to spend 4 times more on links than if they didn't. Or, we had like departments, and each department had an internal budget. So like the online marketing department had an internal budget for the web development department, and if we needed something more than our budget, we couldn't have it, even though it was just like internal. It was nothing. It didn't mean anything. Like,
it's our
it was just
money
some,
anyways.
like, some like numbers some dude in an office just banged into a spreadsheet, and like it was just not very well. And even things like everything, we made a web sale. To get that stock released from the warehouse, we had to go and collect 4 different signatures physically for every order. Like, and these are multi-global big brands. They got no problem dropping 5 million to buy a website, you know.
But that thing hasn't changed. I mean, as I know you're talking about many years ago, but there's still plenty of places that they work that way.
The difference now is the directors of big companies usually have some kind of experience with web or knowledge, or they actually use it themselves. Back then, it was kind of like voodoo, right? And directors, position CEOs didn't understand it, despite the fact it was doing tremendous sales. They just didn't understand it and would rather trust in traditional sales channels than the new thing, right? Yeah. Ultimately, it's much smaller competitors with much smaller teams with higher priced products could outperform us just because of the shackles we had internally as a corporate. So there's a lot of opportunity to compete online, especially with SEO and especially with the 3 things you're about to learn.
All right, so look. I mean, I have to be honest, because I'm also an old school marketer, and in the beginning, when I heard SEO, for me, it was just like just one of those growth hacking things, right? It's not that I wouldn't take it serious, but it was not something that I could grasp very quickly. Because even though it's a simple thing, now that I understand it better, there were many things that I didn't follow through, like how you structure this, how you truly use it. It makes sense. So with that being said, I'm really looking forward to those 3 things that you want to recommend.
Yeah, I mean, look, SEO is there's a lot of kind of mystery around it because it's an ever-moving algorithm, and Google changes this and that, and you don't know what they changed, and it's you've got a moving target, right? And a lot of people are put off by that. But look, SEO really comes down to 3 foundations, and those 3 foundations haven't really changed in a decade. How you apply certain things has, but the foundation hasn't changed. And that is, level 1, have a good site, a good technical foundation that works. It's fast, it works great on mobile devices, it's clean, it's simple, it's easy to navigate. Just a good base technical foundation. With that in place, the only other 2 elements of SEO you need to worry about is content and links. That's it. Content that matches your audience intentions. So if you're an e-commerce site, you might want to put buyer's guides, or you might want to create content that starts with like how to do this, what is this, that all tie back into your product line or service or whatever it is that you offer as a business. That's the content element of it. And then the 3rd element is link building. And for those that don't understand link building, it's essentially a rigged election. One website links to another. That tells Google this website's important because this website's voting for it. However, not all votes are equal. A vote from the New York Times is worth way more than a vote from me. Okay, so why I say it's a rigged election is because we can create links, we can create votes, and it's important that we do that in the right way, but we'll cover that. So they're the 3 parts: good technical foundation, secondly, good content, and 3rd, good link building. If you get the basics right in each of those 3 areas, you'll see success, you'll see search growth. The problem is most people only focus on the link building part, and they put 80% of their efforts on the link building part and the other 20% divided by the other 2 parts. And this is problematic because what that creates, and there's a case study on my blog actually where we were in the health niche against big sites, big budgets, really authoritative, hardcore, like 100-year-old brands ranking. And what we were able to do just by putting a good technical foundation, the content and links in, with just 76 links, we were able to take their traffic from 2,000 a month to 30,000 a month, which transformed the bottom line of the business.
Yeah,
Whereas
I mean,
their
you're
competitors,
literally taking the business away from old companies, a company like standard companies.
With 14 times the search traffic on commercial intent keywords, right? It's not like we're trying to like rank for like keywords like free this, download that, like commercial intent keywords that change the bottom line. But other sites were needing 300, 400, 500 links to compete. Us only 76, but it's because we had that good technical base, that good content, and the link building. And most people only focus on the link building. So that's where you get the advantage as a smaller or medium business, because you can compete on that. And actually getting a technical base isn't that difficult. Getting good content isn't that difficult, nor is link building. With that said, let's cover one thing you can do in each of those areas that will have an impact on your search traffic and also your conversion rates bottom line across the board.
Cool. And before you move in, I just want to let everybody listening, we will get to your questions. We'll leave them towards the end, so you have time to pay attention to what Matt has to say. So yeah, go for it, Matt.
Any questions? And also, even after the fact, even if you're not watching live, please feel free to reach out to me. My blog's matthewwoodward.co.uk.
I will definitely add
ask me any question you want.
Yeah, I will add all of the information in the bottom of the description so people can reach out to you and figure out what you can do.
I'm a big believer in the stupid questions are the ones you don't ask. So please reach out if you need help. So the first thing that we like to get right when we bring any client on board, any audit we do, any site that we acquire, the very first thing that we do is we look at site speed. Now, this is probably like a cliche thing, you've heard it a million times, but listen, it's important for a number of reasons. Site speed is a ranking factor for both humans and for Google. Now, for Google, it's not often that they confirm ranking factors. It's very much a mystery, their ranking factors that we learn through observation and testing. But site speed, they came out and categorically said, this is a ranking factor. Now, on top of that, next year, they're going to introduce an additional ranking factor called Core Web Vitals, which is built on site speed. So, in order for you to be successful from an SEO standpoint, your site must be fast. If you're using a tool like webpagetest.org, you got to be hitting load times of under 5 seconds. And if you're using Google PageSpeed, that gives a mobile score and a desktop. Actually, you can use a website called www.batchspeed.com, and that will crawl your site and give you page speed scores for all the pages across your site, both in mobile and desktop. Mobile must be 60, desktop must be 90 or above. If you're not hitting those metrics right now, your site essentially has a weight around its neck in terms of its organic search and SEO performance, right? Despite having good content, despite having good links, if your site's slow, you're giving yourself an uphill battle. That's from the SEO standpoint. Site speed is also a ranking factor for humans. It's a ranking factor because it directly affects a customer experience. It directly affects conversion rate. If you're an e-commerce site, it directly affects average order value. It touches every point of the customer experience. When you go to a supermarket and you've got everything in your cart and you want to check out and there's a line, that's frustrating, right? You got to wait. What you really want to do is take your cart of products and just go straight to the checkout, pay, and get out of there, right? You don't want to be in a queue. You don't want to wait around. So it's amazing how many sites create that experience digitally through a slow site. On top of that, site speed is important from a mobile perspective. If anyone's listening, looking at their analytics over the past 5 years, you would have seen the amount of mobile and tablet traffic coming to your site growing, regardless of niche. If you're not serving these people with a fast site, again, you're creating that bad experience and it puts people off. So site speed is, of course, it also backs into, if you're running paid campaigns, AdWords, Facebook, Twitter ads, anything like that, that also affects all of your quality scores. It's affecting your conversion rates there. You're ending up paying more in your ad campaigns for less results, right, than you would if your site was fast. So site speed touches your business on so many different levels. So many levels. And I equate it to that in a supermarket. Would every time someone wanted to check out, would you put a 5-person line in front of them? No, you'd want them to just check out and get out of there as quick as it can. So site speed's important. Now, how do we fix it? If you're running WordPress WooCommerce, it's pretty straightforward. I have a tutorial that gives you a much more detailed step-by-step how to increase your website speed. If you go matthewwoodward.co.uk, the SEO section on the right-hand side, there's an article there, Increase Website Speed. You can follow those steps. That will allow you to fix it if you're on WordPress or Magento or something like that. Some people, however, are going to be on Shopify. That's its own can of worms, right? There's so many different implementations on Shopify, but one of the common problems we find is people loading lots of fonts unnecessarily. But you can go and plug your site into webpagetest.org. If it takes more than 5 seconds to load, you've got problems. Really, you want it to load in 3 seconds. Also, go on batchspeed.com, put your site through there. If you're seeing mobile scores under 60, you've got problems. If you're seeing desktop scores under 90, you've got problems. They must be addressed. And the moment you address them, the moment you deploy a fast site, you will immediately see the human benefits in terms of average time on page, bounce rate, pages per visit, average order value, conversion rate. You see the benefit immediately from humans. With Google, we nearly always see a result about 6 weeks after implementing the changes. So it's super simple in many cases. If you're on WordPress or WooCommerce, it's just configuring a couple of plugins. It costs you like $80. And if you're not, there's various services. There's a service called NitroPack, absolutely excellent. That works with Magento. Any e-commerce people running on Magento, they're going to have Shopify compatibility soon, but that's in about 5 minutes. You can fix your site speed with NitroPack, even if you're not a developer and you don't know anything. And that's going to give you your Google page speed scores, all 100 across the board, mobile, desktop, your site speed. It's just a connector. It takes a few moments to set up, really. So that's site speed, right? It's a foundation part of SEO. It's often overlooked. We all know that we need to do it, but I don't think we all quite grasp how important it is and how many different areas of a business it touches.
Will you say that this is more of a tech factor or a human factor?
It's, from an SEO standpoint, it's a technical factor because it's a requirement to rank.
Cool.
But once you've got the person, right, like what's the point of getting traffic if it doesn't convert into sales?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, what's the point of getting someone in the store if they don't buy anything? So that's why it's important from a tech standpoint. Oh, sorry, I'll wait for you. So,
no worries. No, I'm already into this. So you keep going, and I'll interrupt you with some questions.
Okay, so look, that, and if there's any questions about site speed right now, I can't see them, but feel free to interject with them. It's quick to fix, and the benefits are tenfold. And let me tell you, do not be arrogant and think that you do not have site speed problems. I think less than 1 in 100 sites I review have good site speed, right? So nearly everyone has a problem, like especially if you don't think you have. The proof's in the pudding. So with a foundation fix taken care of with site speed, what else can you do in that next 6 weeks while Google's processing that update? And that is to update your existing content. Now, most sites already have a wealth of existing content. They already rank for some keywords, either by intent or accidentally. And in many cases, you might find if you go into Google Search Console, you can go on performance on the left-hand side, and you can look at average position, and you can see what kind of queries I'm ranking for in the first 2 pages between positions 2 and 19. If you see that you're ranking for some good queries there, you can, without much effort, make tweaks to the existing pages and content to increase the visibility of those pages. Now, my favorite way to do this is with a tool called Surfer SEO, a Polish-based tool. They're an absolutely a great team. The tool's been around for like 2 years, and what it does is it has a feature called SERP Analyzer. So you put your target keyword in, which country you're trying to rank for, and it goes out and analyzes all of the top results and compares 500 different on-page factors to you. And at the end, it gives you a very clear report that says you need to So it will say you need to add 200 words. You need to mention this term more frequently. You need to mention this term less. You need to add more images. It gives you very specific advice on how to optimize the content. Now, we see great results with it. The wider SEO community has been seeing great results with it. It's why they're a growing tool right now, because the proof's in the pudding. And it's really easy if you've got absolutely no SEO knowledge whatsoever to do a technical audit page by page, keyword by keyword, just to see how well optimized you are. So if you're ranking in the first 2 pages kind of, well, even by intent or accidentally, and you run it through Surfer and it's saying, yo, there's a lot of work here, you can optimize it. And usually within a week or 2 weeks, you'll see the benefits of that in the results. Now, what's really interesting about Surfer is one of my first interactions with it was for my SEMrush review. And my SEMrush review had like 30,000 words. And Surfer SEO said, you've got to delete 26,000 of those words, which is completely contradictory to most SEO advice.
I was going to say that.
Yeah, most people say go bigger or better, skyscrapering content, all this rubbish. So I was, okay, let's see what happens. Anyway, I deleted, and the next day I was number 1.
Wow.
So, and if you look at my Surfer SEO review, within there is the case study video that shows you that, the before, the after, and I've repeated that many times. It's for existing content, it's amazing to just get almost a paint by numbers guide of optimization, and it works. It's really great. On top of that, if you're creating new content, they have a content editor. So again, you put your target keyword, the country you want to rank for, and it goes out and it does an analysis, and it has this really cool writing interface. And on the right side is again a paint by numbers guide. Your content needs this many words, this many headings, this many images. These are the phrases you must use, and it tracks it in real time as you write in. It's saying, yeah, you've done this, you've done that, you've done that. These are the questions you need to ask. These are the headers you need to have. It really just lays out a complete content plan for you. And actually, the content editor is baked into our internal process with our writers. That's what they use to create new content. So that's a second pillar, optimizing your content. Existing content, really easy. Just run it through Surfer SEO, paint by numbers guide. Anyone can do it. If you know how to edit content or edit text on your website, that's all you need. It takes anywhere between 20 minutes and an hour to integrate each optimization per keyword. So don't go crazy. Don't come up with a list of 100 keywords you're going to optimize all with Surfer. Just pick the 5 that are most relevant to your business, that are going to back into the most margin. Go for those keywords that are in line with your business, not with the search volume. And it's a really easy way to score quick wins without really spending any money. It's just time and elbow grease. And if you've got any juniors in your team, or anyone that's coming on or training, anyone fresh out of school, college, university, anything like that, it's a great tool to hand over to them and a great task, because the results speak for themselves. So that's what you can do from the content perspective really easily, without any effort at all.
So I mean, that was the next question, because you're talking about a tool, and I know it's not the only tool, and I know the guys. I mean, I talked to the guys before; they're amazing, but it works. That's the main thing, because there are plenty of tools that can help you with here and there. But I guess if it doesn't matter what you choose, you have to choose something that works. And gladly you have proved that it worked for you. I mean, it's a huge advance.
Yeah, and in the wider community is getting great results as well. And the reason Surf is great is because it's a very pragmatic tool. It's looking at data that exists that it can observe, and then making judgments upon that. One of my secret weapons in SEO and general life is the power of observation. Also in business, just sitting back, observing what worked for them, learning other people's lessons. And SEO, that's a very handy skill to have, because when you do a search in Google, what they're displaying to you is search results. What that actually is an output of the algorithm. Google are literally telling you what they want. This is what we want. So applying to the power of observation to that and backing that into content creation, you can usually just Google your term, open the top 5 results, write a list of pros and cons about each of them, push that into Surfer's content editor, and you're going to create excellent content that Google wants and that people want, and it will just rank. Skyscrapering, where you go you make like a 10,000 word monster piece. Yeah, that has its place. There are times you should use that strategy, but as a general approach to creating content to rank for SEO, that becomes very expensive. It's very resource intensive. You don't need to go that far. Surfer SEO, very pragmatic. It's got 2 feet on the ground. It's analyzing data that's observable and giving you specific advice based on that in real time. So that's why it's such a good tool. Lots of other tools outsource their data, or they're relying on clickstream data, which is then extrapolated and just an estimation. But Surfer is real, hardcore. This is what's happening right now, and this is what you should do in order to take advantage of that.
We're definitely going to add, because we know the guys, we're definitely going to add their link in there, so people can go and check them out and see how much it can help for their companies.
Yeah, I'll give you a link to my YouTube video with when I deleted all of that content, and it's mind blowing.
Cool.
It's mind blowing. It really is. Yeah. So you got a good foundation with your site speed. You've optimized content, and perhaps you've written some new content that's now optimized with Surfer, which that's all content moving forward after listening to this. It should be done by that. The third thing is link building, the rigged election. Now, link building is where lots of people struggle, lots of businesses struggle, and even a lot of SEOs struggle. Now, the easiest way for most businesses to deal with link building is to outsource it. The problem with outsourcing it is it's an absolute minefield. And there's so many, it's a really filthy area of SEO, and it's filled with so much smoke and mirrors and things that if you're not technically inclined, you wouldn't pick up on. For example, one of the issues with link building is quite often, well, first of all, it's important that you understand what is the value of a link, like what actually goes into building a good link. And it's kind of harsh to say, but quite often with link building, you get what you pay for, right? You can use link services that will acquire outreach-based links for $50, $60, $70 a pop. The problem is, in the real world, if you back that into the business, it costs more than that to produce a good quality link. The cost prices are higher than that. So when you're paying for these outreach-based guest posts that are $50, $70 a pop, what you're actually buying are posts on private blog networks, or posts on heavily farmed sites. Now, the problem with that is these links end up hurting you in the long run. And you think that you're kind of winning the election, but you're not. You're actually setting yourself up for failure. If anyone's listening who's used any link services or have built any links, one of the other things that we see quite often is sites with write for us pages. If you're not familiar with it, quite often you'll see on sites navigating around in the header, sidebar, and footer, they'll have a little write for us page. And on that write for us page, they usually indicate that they accept and publish guest posts. Now, the problem with this is they create those pages because they know that a link has value. Just like bread and milk has value, you can't just walk into the store and take it. Building a link from a site now has value, and website owners know that. So when you contact them, they're going to ask for a publishing fee. And that's a problem when they are advertising on their write for us page that they do that, because it is against Google's guidelines, right? Paid link building is complete. In fact, all forms of link building are against Google's guidelines, paid link building especially. So it's easy to fall into a trap as a business because doing it internally is very difficult. It's a specialist skill set, and you need a team. You need 3 or 4 people to do it well. So then you outsource it. But then the people you're outsourcing it to are essentially just scraping a list of sites that have write for us pages and then paying to post on them, and then they resell that to you with a margin. But all these sites with write for us pages are a huge risk. And Google can easily identify write for us and other types of pages like that and devalue the links coming from them. So if you've paid $50, $60, $100 for your link, it's not worth anything because Google devalued it before you even built the link from it.
Well, sorry, just a quick question about that. Just to get this bit. So one of the best ways, or one of the things that you have to do during SEO is build link building, right?
Yes.
But
yes.
if I get it straight, basically Google doesn't want you to do that. So
That's
it's a
correct.
It's a way to trick Google, somehow.
Yes. Yes. All forms of manipulating Google search results are against Google's guidelines. Right?
So they have the spirit of keeping the growth and the ranking organic, but after all, we all try to figure out ways not to, and just to.
Yeah, unfortunately, Google are in a position where they want to maintain the results to be organic and natural, and that makes sense. In the real world, though, links are a commodity. They have value. Irrespective of what Google says, they have value because they increase your rankings, they increase your traffic, they increase your bottom line. It's a commodity, just like bread and milk. However, there is a very stupid way about going about things and a more intelligent way. Unfortunately, Google have created this where actually to do good, honest link building needs a team. It's a substantial investment. Along with all of the tools, you're running $4,000 or $5,000 a month just to run the link building team, never mind the other bits. And that's just out of reach for many people. So then they're in this scenario where they know they need link building, they can't afford it internally, so they have to go external. And there are so many sharks waiting, it's unbelievable. But Google have created that, and also not being upfront about exactly what is a good link, what is a bad link, and this kind of smoke and mirrors allows people to sell links that on the surface look excellent, but they don't stand up to basic scrutiny. And this is a problem because in all of my time, there's only 3 services that I can trust. And I've used a lot of services and spent a lot of money, you know. So it's important that you get the link building right, because it can actually end in penalty. If a large amount of your link profile, is these kind of write for us pages, it's obvious you're manipulating things. Google know the only reason the write for us pages exist is to fuel the commodity economy of links, right? So if most of the sites linking to you have this write for us page, they know that you rigged the election. They know that you paid to win.
And they will punish you.
And they will punish you. Yes.
Damn.
So link building is something that you have to get right. It's an important. Now, if you go on my blog, there's about 18 different link building strategies that you can use to go out there and build links, right? If you've got the resource to do it. Some of them you can do yourself. We've got like testimonial link building, for example, can be done relatively easily in the afternoon. And there's other things. But in terms of operating a business and at scale, you got to outsource it. There isn't. It's either build your team or outsource it. So you got to know what to look for when you're outsourcing it, right? Because there are a lot of sharks waiting for you. And I'll talk to you in a little moment about one particularly technical trick that even most advanced SEOs aren't aware of, and they would say it's still a good link, even though it's worthless. And I'll cover that one last. The most basic indicator you can use though is price. And if you're paying $50 to $70, look, a good link with everything that goes into a good link, sourcing it, arranging the placement, creating the content to a high standard, doing the quality control, paying a publishing fee, all of that has cost, right? So good quality, really good links that move the needle cost anywhere from $150 to $300 or $400. If you're going on to big time placements, you can pay a lot more, but I don't see that it's necessary. Price really does tell you a lot about the quality of the link that you're buying. But even if you're paying that doesn't guarantee that it's a good link. People still resell crappy links at high prices. So there are other things that you need to pay attention to. Another good indicator when deciding if you want a link from a site is, does the site have any current organic search traffic? Meaning, if Google trusts this site to give it traffic, you can inherently assume that you trust this site to link to you, right? Google trusts a site to send them traffic, so inherently you trust them to link to you. This is a very top level way of, if you've got no knowledge whatsoever, of kind of deciding, is this going to be a good link? Or if you're using an existing link building service or outsourcing it, you can use this as a guide to say, are they giving me good links? Has it got a write for us page? If it has, avoid that like the plague. Like avoid it like coronavirus,
Very trendy right now. Very trendy.
Yeah, right. If you've got, probably for the next couple of years too, I think. And if the site's got organic search traffic or not. If it hasn't, well, then why? Google doesn't trust the site with traffic, so why do I want a link from it? High risk thing to consider, right? As well, just looking at the place, the link itself, the content. Is the content relevant? Is the site relevant to me? Is it labeled as a guest post? Is it labeled as a guest author? Is it labeled as a sponsored placement? Is your placement about, let's say, dog grooming, but then you go on the homepage and you see posts about penis pills? Like, you don't want to see that, right?
Probably not.
Yeah. Dog grooming probably extends out into like home and family kind of niches, but going into like medical, like pills and stuff, is a bit of a stretch. So you want to make sure that it's relevant. There's so many. I mean, they're the top level things that if you've got no experience at all, you can check, and you can have a look at those things to get a general idea of the quality of link being built. If you want to go internal, like I said, hit my blog, matthewwoodward.co.uk. There's an SEO section and a link building section, 18 different strategies that you can use. For most businesses, though, you should outsource it. I'm completely biased in the fact that I run a link building service called links.rank.com, and we build everything to a very high spec. We do lots of quality control. And the one thing that we do that lots of people don't know to even check is, let's say you have a link. It's super relevant. There's no right for us page. It's not marked as a guest post. It's the perfect link. That's only true if there are other. So if my site's linking to your site, this is your site, this is my site, and we're linking, right? My link only has value if it has other links coming to it. So if you're on my site, matthewwoodward.co.uk, and I'm linking to you, there needs to be a link from my homepage to the page that has your link on. If there isn't, there's no authority being passed from the linking site.
Because it's just an independent page, right?
Because it's an orphaned page. And quite often what happens, especially with link building services and publishers, is they create hidden sections of the site to sell links from. So it looks amazing, but there's no link from the home page to the page your link is on. There's no way you can go to the home page and navigate to the page your link is on. No way. And that means that it loses the vast majority of all its authority and weight, making it worthless. So you can have super high, like DR80, high authority links, super relevant. It's indexed by Google. It's in the sitemap, no right for us page, 100,000 organic visitors a month, looks absolutely amazing, perfect. But when you actually try to navigate to the page from the home page, you can't do it. And if you can't do it, Google can't do it. And we found that issue in around 20% of placements.
Wow.
So that meant, if you were spending a budget of $5,000 a month, $1,000 a month of your budget was just being set on fire and burnt. And we're the only service that checks for that. There are other services I recommend. Get Me Links by Gary Wilson and Authority Builders by Matt Diggity, along with my own Links That Rank. Those are the three services that you can lean on and trust to just do a good job and build the type of links that are going to move the needle without putting you at all this stupid risk that many services present. I always like to use the analogy, like you ever been to a restaurant and ordered Coca-Cola, and then the waiter comes and they put the glass down and they leave, they don't say anything, and then you take that first sip and it's Pepsi. That is most link building services. Right? And you're lucky if you even get Pepsi. You usually get like the cheap
The
store,
Coca-Cola.
generic brand cola, right? That's most link building services. So look, if you're gonna do link building, if you're a small team, you haven't got much resource available, budget, hit my site. Testimonial link building is a great way to get started. It costs nothing to do, a bit of elbow grease. It will win you some great homepage links. If you want to do links at scale, the best way is to outsource it. Once you're spending between $4,000 and $5,000 a month on links, you want to start thinking about building your own internal team. But up to that, you should really be looking to outsource in order to grow. Now, I want it to be very clear: the vast majority of building, right? Like 80-90% of effort goes on link building, but unless you've got the technical right, unless you've got the content right, you're facing an uphill battle with link building, and you end up having to build 4 or 5 times the amount of links than you actually need to if you have the other pillars in place. So I said it earlier, and we'll give links, I guess, to a case study where we 14 times search traffic. That was because we had a good technical foundation first. Of course, we did link building, but we did link building last. And most people's SEO strategies do it first. So it's important that you approach things in the way that we've said: technical structure, foundation, content, and then the link building on top, right? You wouldn't open a retail store without all of the shop fittings and the shelvings installed and all the products in the right places and everything with the prices and all the tills. You wouldn't open a retail store like that. So don't open your website like that. Make sure everything's right as it should be: technical, easy to use, quick, simple to navigate, content that solves people's problems, connects them to your products or services, and then layer that on top with links. That's the right way to do it. If you're just going to listen to this and just be like, "Whoa, I'm just going to build some links,"
no, there's a priority. There's a priority.
I'll take your money, right? And you will see increases, but you won't see anywhere near as good results if you got the technical and the other stuff right first. So,
dude, that's amazing, because I understand it so much better now too. Like, because I knew about these elements, I just never really put them together in a priority list, right? I mean, have proper foundations, content, and then worry about the link building, which is basically just gonna get you the money. But first, you need to have that foundation for sure.
Yeah, it's like a house, right? Foundation, first floor, second floor, roof.
Otherwise, it falls.
But all anyone wants to do is build a roof. I'm like, well, what about the
where are you going to put
it? like the roof's on the dirt. Like,
Matt, I do have questions from the audience, and I really want to get to them, because we got these 3 things that hopefully is going to give not only the base for most people watching, but also a lot of the things that they can develop throughout the process. Let me start with a question from Bartosz. In your opinion, can you succeed if you're good only at 2 of these things that you mentioned? Like, maybe you only have a cool site, and maybe you're really good at links, but your content is terrible. Or maybe your site is okay, but your content is really good, and your links are getting okay.
I mean, it's so easy to fix each section that the question's almost redundant. Because let's use an Apple store as an example, right? First of all, you got to have the store. That's the technical and the foundation, right? Then you got to have the content. That's the person that greets you, understands why you're in the store, and connects you with the solution, the product, the service, right? That's the content. And then the link building after that is like when you go out and tell everyone how awesome your experience was. And then more people enter the store and go on it. That's kind of like what's going on in the 3 stages of SEO, right? So if you didn't have the sales assistant, sure, people would walk into the store, they'll probably buy products and services and recommend friends, but their average spend's going to be lower. They're not going to be, the
experience is going to be different.
Exactly. So it's so easy to get each of the things right that you should not just focus on 2. Most people struggle with the link building. That's usually the biggest barrier for most businesses. And then when they do try and solve it, they get burnt because of the reasons we spoke about, So no, you can focus on the 2, but there's
better stick to
logical reason to do so.
Now, another question is, what do you think are the biggest myths or lies or mistakes about SEO? What something people believe that is a given, but not really?
I think in general, people see SEO as a quick win, an easy solution. It's often pitched and positioned like that. But it's a long-term game, right? If you're making big change, like for example, with our agency, if you came on as a fully managed client, our minimum contract term is 4 months, because we know that it takes about 4 months to get the 3 foundations right. Okay. And then after that, we move to a rolling monthly contract because, if we're not performing, we get cut. most SEO agencies will lock you into 12 months and probably 12 very frustrating months. So that the myth is that SEO is just quick and overnight. Like there are things, the site speed, you will generally see results within 4 to 6 weeks. You go out and optimize these individual keywords, you'll see results within weeks. But in general, SEO is a long-term investment, and you must treat it as such. It will become your strongest sales channel if treated with that kind of respect. The problem is people don't treat it with that respect. They're trying to take shortcuts and pinch and dime their way through things, and the biggest myth to me is people coming to me and telling me that their on-site's perfect. That's the biggest lie I hear all the time. No, it's not. It's slow. Like usually, if you tell me your on-site's perfect, I know it's awful.
That's a good way to identify it.
So, yeah. So I guess that's the biggest myth. Look, it's a long-term thing. You must treat it as a serious sales channel. And if you think you're perfect, you're not. Even my own sites have SEO issues. They just creep in over time, even if you know what you're doing. So they're the main myths, I think.
So especially with what you just said, there's another question about it's really hard to catch up with the industry updates, right? Like Google always update the algorithm, or LinkedIn, whatever. I mean, most pages do, more search engines do. Is there anything that doesn't change besides the things that you mentioned?
No, I mean, rather than chase the algorithm, chase a foundation. Having that solid foundation, having that content. Okay, things might change and your search traffic might fluctuate or it might drop off. But usually, people that have had big drop-offs in search traffic, it was a long time coming. Like we had the May update recently that canned a lot of people, and all of the sites that we've audited and looked at were like, well, yeah, that was obvious you were going to get that, and
like,
it was because they were focused on link building and not technical foundation. So it's easy to get caught up in chasing the algorithm and the changes and the things like that, but don't do that. Chase the foundations, get the base things right. And that's it. If an algorithm updates and you get hit, use the power of observation. What's Google now ranking? Why have they dropped my page? Why has that page appeared? Usually you can find some kind of logic in the chaos just from observing the search results and the changes. So you'll drive yourself nuts if you chase the algorithm. Just do a good job on each of the foundations and in each area of your business, and all of that will converge into search success.
The last question, so we can let you go and enjoy the hurricane. Black hat SEO, is this something that still works in 2020?
I hate this argument. Okay, so human stupidity. Let's talk about that for a minute. The black hat and white hat SEO argument is, for me, a perfect illustration of how stupid and arrogant we are as human beings. We have enforced human morals and society-based constructs on an emotionless algorithm. And from that, we've labeled it as white hat because all things white are good, and black hat because all things black are evil, right? And we've created a divide over an algorithm. It's an algorithm. All the algorithm is looking for is certain metrics. And all our jobs as SEOs is to give the algorithm the metrics it wants. Why are we bringing social constructs into this conversation? And why are we labeling things as black hat and white hat? All that serves to do is, first of all, divide. And it also inherently, if you identify as white hat, you're an idiot, by the way. Equally, if you identify as black hat, you're an idiot. because once you identify as one or the other, you instantly become ignorant of the other side. And that only serves to stop you developing a complete SEO knowledge. It's an algorithm. Yes, there are rules that humans at Google have published that they would like us to work within, but it's an algorithm. It's looking for certain metrics. We just give it the certain metrics it wants. That's it. So the black hat, white hat argument to me is stupid. Now, where it sometimes is used as to describe risk, right? Black hat techniques are more risky than white hat techniques. But let me tell you, link building's against Google's guidelines. It doesn't matter. Like, if you see people using the term white hat link building, they're a special kind of idiot, because all forms of link building are against Google guidelines. By traditional SEO definition of white hat and black hat, all link building is black hat. Guest posting is black hat. There's no such thing as white hat link building. So every SEO on the planet by definition is black hat. But then they're riding around with kind of like this white hat moral high ground kind of thing. So for me, the whole thing is stupid. It's just a demonstration of human arrogance and stupidity. We're imposing our will on an algorithm that is an algorithm. It doesn't have emotions.
No, thank you for the honesty.
Great question. You opened a can of worms with that one.
I know. That was like, I saw the passion.
In the end, just give the algorithm what it wants. What does it want? Look at the search results. That's it.
Cool. So 2 things. First of all, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
I'm gonna be waiting for all the information so I can put it in the descriptions, together with all your blogs and your page and some of the pages that you also recommended to help achieve some of the things. Also, I'm going to be waiting for a 90-day SEO t-shirt. Hopefully, you're going to send it to us. And I hope we can do this again, man. Like, I really want to, I want to thank you again. I know this is not the easiest time for you to join. And I hope you enjoyed the time in Costa Rica. And we'll see you next time. And for everybody listening, thank you so much for joining. This is Incoming Chat. Thanks, Matt.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me on. And just before you cut me, look, reach out and ask any questions. The stupid ones are the ones you don't ask. I'm here to help. Remember, 3 foundations. Go get your site, and these are things you should go and do right now. Go get your site speed fixed. Go get it done yesterday. Go and spend the next few days optimizing some existing content with Surfer, and next week backlight up into some link building. 4 to 6 weeks from now, you're going to be in a great position, and you're going to be sending me a happy message. So thanks for having me on, and good luck with the world and everything that's happening.
Craziest day of the year for sure to be talking about. Anyway, brother, thank you so much. And again, everybody listening, see you next time. Cheers.
Ciao. Bye-bye.